Hey guys, Digit Lifestyle here, back with another video. This one from Wide Awake Media. They're talking about the Great Reset, and with Mark Maruno on Klaus Schwab recent B20 speech. He's talking about us essentially giving up national sovereignty, giving up individual freedoms, and turning over rule to experts. This whole agenda is to make it so we have no choice or on some of. Okay, I haven't actually expanded that. I'm going to expand that because like really hit me. The whole agenda to remember, please, I am dyslexic and do forgive me if I do mess up. To make it so that we have no choice on some of the biggest questions of our lives. We didn't get to vote on whether gas-powered cars would be banned. We didn't get to vote for vaccine mandates. We didn't get to vote for lockdowns. We didn't get to vote for banning of meat. But all of this is happening because at these meetings, like the World Economic Forum, I would say Bretton Woods as well, and the United Nations, they meet and they work out with government corporate collusions, government corporate collusion to bypass democracy and impose stuff through this corporate government fascism. And you can find the source here, and there is a link to the YouTube channel here, and it's by Wide Awake Media. You guys can go and look online to get the news. But listen, I am gonna play this video and let him break down what he's actually saying. It's 3 minutes long, and
what we have to confront is a deep, systemic, and structural restructuring of our world. And this will take some time. And the world will look differently after we have gone through this transition process.
Can you translate that for us? What is he really talking about?
He's talking about us essentially giving up individual national sovereignty and giving up individual freedoms and turning over rule to experts. In fact, at his meeting in Davos, he said he looked at everyone in the room, and these are billionaires, millionaires, corporate heads, government bureaucrats, Hollywood celebrities, the royal family, Bill Gates. He looked at everyone and he said, we have in this room, we get to decide the future of the planet. I mean, that's the kind of maniacal James Bond villain attitude he actually has. So what's significant, though, about this G20 speech you just played, Ali, he is now being treated as a head of state. It's now a nation state. It's reached that level status at a G20 summit where he can go up there and talk about radical restructuring, systemic restructuring of the planet, and he gets literally the same VIP treatment. And what's amazing about that is, how did he get to this position of power? Well, in the book I go back, it's founded in 1971, and the key to the way the World Economic Forum is so powerful, they found a way for businesses, academics, and lobbyists and fundraisers to meet with politicians off the books, outside the purview of lobbying, regulators, any oversight. And they have these annual meetings, and it's a free-for-all where you get corporations, government, celebrities, academia, all together, and they're meeting, they're talking, I hate to use the word conspiring, but they're planning. And this is how you end up with things like environment, social governance, ESG. This is how you end up with all these corporate mandates. And what ultimately comes out of this, and this is the simplest way of looking at it, the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, this whole agenda is to make it so we have no choice on some of the biggest questions of our lives, and just even down to the smallest. And here's a few examples. We didn't get to vote on whether gas-powered cars would be banned. We didn't vote for vaccine mandates. We didn't vote for lockdowns. We didn't vote to have churches closed. We didn't vote to have schools closed. We didn't vote for mask mandates. We didn't vote for banning of meat. But all of this is happening because at these meetings, like the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, they meet and they work with government corporate collusion to bypass democracy. In a simple sentence, the Great Reset is basically making the once free West copy the same model as one-party Chinese authoritarian rule. That is the Great Reset. They bypass democracy and impose stuff through this corporate government fascism, and we get told what's happening. We don't get to vote on it. There's no hearings in Congress. There's no town halls. There's no switchboards lighting up for a big vote. None of it. We're just told. The car's gone. Your meat eating's going. Yeah. We're creating energy shortages. You're sorry you need a vaccine to go into this place. Sorry your schools are closed. Sorry your churches are closed. What? Huh? How did that happen? The Great Reset.
And listen, like I said before, many, 99% of people are asleep on this. They're not waking up to the great, the Great Reset, but also the greatest transfer of wealth that is taking place. There will be the haves and there will be the have-nots in this world. Yeah, there's no two questions about it at this juncture and what's taking place. Now, I will say this: it doesn't have to be that way. Why do I say that? Because 99% of the people on this planet cannot be controlled by 1%, yet they are. How did they do that? How? They used a system. What is the system? The system started with a biblical book. Most people fell into that trap. Division, Christianity, great divider of people. In that book, there's so many things that I really do not agree with, especially in how it was created. I've learned over the years that book has been manipulated to control each and every single one of us. Listen, there is nothing good about something that says, I will control you and you will have to obey. That is not biblical, and that is not God. God does not. I don't see a God doing that, and this is what I see with Klaus Schwab, and I understand when that guy said James Bondish, but it's not even James Bondish. James Bond couldn't even do that. But what Charles Schwab, well, I suppose he can in tactics and stuff like that. But where these people have come in, they've come in under the radar, and they've made themselves governments, whether it be through the World Economic Forum, the Bank of International Settlement, WHO, World Health Organization. You know, look at it from this perspective. World Health Organization, World Health. There is no health. There is none. If it was a World Health Organization, surely it would be something that would allow people to have health on a national on a basis that did not cost. But in some countries, people have to pay through their noses to get help. And at the same time, they've been poisoned. Yeah, they've been killed by either misdiagnosis or by the medication that they've been given. Everything that we're living through right now is a massive scam. I don't care what people think. I don't care if it offends. I don't care if people think I'm anti-Semite for saying what I'm saying. What's going on in Gaza and Israel is about the gas, the natural gas. This has not happened before. This has happened for donkey's years. They have stolen. Those who have put themselves in power have done this over decades. This is not something new. Right? These people have used the book and they've used religion to control. No God of a right sound mind would allow, if you look at some of Deuteronomy texts about killing people. What kind of God is that? Come on. Thousands of years people have been indoctrinated into something and being made to fear. And that's the thing. Fear. Fear controls man. If it wasn't for 2019 and how they did that, seriously, I would not be awake right now. I'd be asleep, like 99%. But I woke up to that. I don't care what any of those people say, or censorship people say. No, enough is enough now. We need to start waking up, people. Wake the hell up. Enough is enough. We are the many, they are the few. Come on. Look, I got a video to play you as well from somebody else who is literally, everybody's kind of like on that. So everybody's pissed off, to be honest with you. Everybody's like distracted. That's another thing that I see as well. Distraction. Media distraction, and nothing, when I look at it, I just see, you can liken it to memes. And another one by Wide Awake Media. We're undergoing a soft coup under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and biochemistry agenda. Dr. Mary Nass explains how the WHO proposed pandemic treaty will enable the WHO to take over jurisdiction of everything in the world by saying that climate change. You know what? I know Google will probably strike this one. I know they will, because they're in cahoots with all this shit, yeah? And yeah, maybe I need to put this not on the kids' agenda. Do you know what I mean? And say it's suitable, because it's probably not. I am totally pissed off with what is going on in this world. There is no accountable government. Everybody seems to be following the same agenda. And have you not noticed, since the war with Russia and Ukraine, everybody followed this agenda? All the G20 and G7 and all those nation people follow the agenda, apart from, say, Africa and Asia. They said, no, we're not getting involved in this. This is like none of our business, right? Why is America, or why is Britain, why is Britain in particular, and the USA funding Ukraine? Please. Who came, what happened in World War II? Please, look at what happened in World War II. Look at what happened in World War II. Who were the people that were put on a piece of land and then took away from those that were there in the first place? And this is not the first time it's happened. It's happened throughout history. This has been going on for decades. Africa, they wrote this into the Bible. They wrote it in the Bible. But yet they said those would be the chosen ones are with woolly hair. What do black people have? Woolly, bloody hair. Right? Yet they said, oh, you be enslaved. Come on. Which, listen, and the people fell for it. It's like a spell. It was like spell casting. Why would you have gnomes, ghouls, and all that kind of bollocks on your fucking building? Why would you have that crap on your building? Why would you have that? Question that. Question. When you go around these big cities and they have these beautiful buildings, but at the top of them they have these ghouls, these nasty, horrible things, oppressive effigies, if you will. And yet in some of these buildings, even the museum, I'd probably say, they have stolen artifacts like the Elgin marbles, stuff from Africa. And yet they're saying it's ours, or the Africans can't protect it. And they're saying to Greece, oh, you won't be able to look after it. The same story they said to Africa. Yet, what colour are the Greek people? What colour are the Greeks? They're not bloody black, are they? I question the world we live in. It's all bollocks. And people fall into these, if you like, rails of bollocks and bullshit. In any time people fucking woke up. Do you know what? Wake the fuck up. Seriously. It's too much fucking evil. There's nothing good about a book that says you have to kill people to acquire shit. There's nothing good about that. There's nothing good about a book that says you cannot do this, you have to follow this, you have to do this, you have to. If you don't, you will. This is exactly what's going on right now. If you don't have the jab, you cannot go this way. You cannot do that. You cannot vote. Blah, blah, blah. Well, fuck you. I won't fucking vote. I don't need to vote for cunts in this world. Seriously. And I am so pissed right now. I'm pissed that I walk down the road and I see idiots, I see people, I cannot believe that people are so dumb. Every Sunday they go to this building and they bang out their drums or whatever. You know what? I have to get rid of. I had a Bible. I do have a Bible. I need to get rid of that fucking shit because there's nothing good in it apart from maybe some guidelines on humanity. Don't kill. It says don't kill, but yet what's going on right now? Killing, in it. Thousands of people are being killed over fucking gas. Anyway, watch this video.
We're undergoing a soft coup, and the idea is to create a whole new set of laws and ignore the existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and the biosecurity agenda. The WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO Directorate and the United States in charge, a pandemic treaty and amendments to the existing international health regulations that will remove the human rights protections currently embedded in the IHRs, will enforce surveillance, censorship, get rid of freedom of speech, require governments to censor and only push a single narrative. Also, we will be subject, if they can make this work, to vaccines developed in 100 days, which the organization CEPI is planning to do. And one of the people who founded CEPI was Jeremy Farrar, who is now the chief scientist at the WHO, to bring this forward. Other things that amendments do is to bind the states so they're no longer recommendations, but enforceable edicts. Provide a liability shield, get rid of intellectual property rights, move supplies from one country to another, enforce digital passports, and the Director General of WHO can demand that a pandemic or a potential pandemic exists. He can just declare it with no standards, and then countries around the world will have to obey. Also, the WHO will tell you what drugs you can and can't use in your nation once a pandemic is declared. Obviously, the budget will increase. One Health is another part of this. One Health is a concept that was created to enable the WHO, with these documents, to take over jurisdiction of everything in the world by saying that climate change, animals, plants, water systems, ecosystems are all central to health. Also embedded in this concept is a peculiar notion that humans are no longer of greater value than animals.
Again, by Wide and Wake Media, they are exposing this bullshit that's going on in the world right now. Telling people, right, think about this, right? Before there was the Bible, before all of everything that they say there was, right? What was man doing? They said man was hunting in the wilderness. And guess what they were eating? They were probably just, and this is just something me thinking out loud, or just imagining. They were hunting the animals down and just eating it as it was, raw. Dragging it back to, and then they evolved and developed cooking and stuff like that. Where did the vegetables come in? Who told them about eating vegetables? Blah blah blah. So this whole how we came about, the pyramids, all that kind of stuff is massive questions we need to be asking ourselves. You know, they haven't been explained. On the pyramids they have spaceships, things that, submarines, all that kind of things, aeroplanes, all of that kind of stuff on the pyramids. And this is, they said, what, 6,000 or so more years, or maybe more. So, okay, if that is the question, if that is the case, why isn't that in the Bible? Or if it is, why is it so obscure? Surely there's more to what they're saying. And everything that would, even down to thinking about this whole climate change agenda, right? They said about it, I remember at school, right? And they said, oh, we need to stop using fossil fuels. Here's the thing. They had the technology way back when Tesla, before the Elon Musk came about. Tesla had the opportunity to give us energy that was free, right? But yet, I think it was, what's the biggest company on the planet at the moment, the bank, is it BlackRock, or the one that's controlled by Larry Fink? And they had something to do with the, and you guys can go and check this out, right, yourselves, the Titanic sinking. Apparently there was 2 different boats in that conspiracy theory, but hey, who knows, given what we know today. I lost track. Coming back. Get back. We are in a situation whereby they are pushing mandates. They are centralizing everything when the world wants to be decentralized, and this is what we're pushing back against, if you like. Centralization against decentralization, and this is where the new monetary system is going to come into play. It's up to us whether we have a centralized system where there's the CBDC, centralized digital, I call it centralized digital bank currency, where it controls you and tells you how to spend your money and stuff like that. Or do we go to a decentralized system whereby, yes, everything can be seen in a ledger. If you're wrong, you could get penalized through an outside entity, but at the same time, you're allowed to transact freely, like we used to do many years ago. And that brings me back to the argument of what did we eat before, because we were eating raw meat. Seriously, people were hunter-gatherers. Do you know what I mean? So clearly over time they've discovered you could eat carrots, you could eat potatoes, you could eat all those other things in conjunction with meat. Why are they now saying that we shouldn't have meat? Meat has to be a stable diet of any human being on this planet for health reasons, not something that's vaccinated, not something that's like we are, if you will, because like they treat us like they treat animals at the moment, and that woman alluded to this from the European Parliament. They're exposing everything. Here's the thing, right? People aren't listening. They're too wrapped up in fear, too wrapped up in negativity that's taking place within our global environment. They are not seeing the transformation. And if they did, the CBDCs will never ever come to pass, because people will vote, and they not just vote with their feet or go to the ballot box, but I think people will start to look at where they park their money, and they would look at where utility is. They would look at decentralized blockchains in particular. They would look at and they would have to do their research, and I would suggest anybody looking at this now to do their own research. But we're not going back to the system that was actually working, in my view, well enough. But on reflection, what they did to it and how they corrupted it, and that's the problem. Everything that you have on this planet can be corrupted, and that is another thing that people need to be aware of. Even the fruits and vegetables, the meat that we eat, can be corrupted. So, looking at Wide Awake Media's title, guys, you need to be wide awake. You need to wake up. Seriously, wake up. And I hope people understand, and it's not anything to do with division or anti-Semitism or anything of that nature. We don't need to live in a divisive, in a world that is divided, where people live on strips, and you're because this person says in the Bible you are better than. That is the way, because that is not the way, because there is no such, there's nothing, as far as I'm concerned, that can convince me that is the correct way to be, or to live. And no God, in my view, any good, loving God, if God is love, then that is not love. That's just hate, bare hate. So, anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. I ranted, huh? And I'm glad I did. Do you know what? I got some shit off my chest, and the reason I'm doing this as well is to wake people up. And you know what? If I get a strike for this shit, I get a strike for it. Simple. You know, it's what it is right now. If I get a strike, I don't care, because I'm not earning any money from this shit anyway, so it don't bother me. Anyway, this shit lifestyle out. You take care of yourself, guys. Wake up. Wake up.